the UCC1 filing and do all of that because they already have us playing in with deceptive forms. But in all actuality, you don't have to do any of that. It is your right, and the United States codes breaks it down to you so where you don't have to utilize their deceptive forms because, like I said to you, all forms are deceptive in this corporate entity called the United States because it, if you read I believe it's 18 USC, is it 8? I can't recall right off the top of my head. No, it's 28 USC 3002. Read 28 USC 3002, go all the way down to 15. 15 will blatantly let you know that the United States is a corporation. It is not a country, has nothing to do with a country. It is a corporation. And these uniform commercial codes are the rules and regulations that they're operating underneath of. So understanding that you're playing into the deception by doing the UCC1 filing. You can't cause no harm to yourself only because USC 15 USC 1692 says you can't commit a crime. As a natural, living, breathing man and woman, no one can tell you that you committed a crime at all. So I'm
There's no
saying,
crime.
say that again. I'm sorry.
You can't commit a crime at all.
Tell you,
You
but
cannot commit
the ultimate
whatsoever.
crime is crime against someone personally, like bodily harm. That's the ultimate.
Now that is when we're dealing in common law. Common law says you cannot cause harm to anyone, but they're not utilizing common law. They're utilizing maritime and admiralty law.
Right.
So if you want to live in honor, yes, follow the rules of common law and don't cause harm to anyone.
Right.
But in the meantime, as you're doing your due diligence and understanding the system that they're playing in, understand that according to their rules and their regulations to their corporate entity, their articles of incorporation, you as a natural living, breathing being cannot commit a crime. Period.
In maritime admiralty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And every court hearing that they hold is a civil case. Even when they are calling it a criminal case, it is a civil case. If you sit in a courtroom and you listen to a criminal case, after the duration of that case, at the end of the case, you will hear them say, the defendant has signed the bill. Because they tricked you into signing this bill. And all you did was make what they did, what they're doing in these deceptive de facto courts, legal, because you agreed to it.
Yeah.
That's why they tell you you have the right to remain silent. And people think that's not telling on myself. I'm not going to tell you where I was, what I did. No, you don't tell them your name either. Because you have a right to remain silent. Don't you ask questions. A king asks questions. They don't answer anything. And God gave you dominion over the planet when he said man is given dominion over the planet. That means that you're the demigod. That means these people are beneath you. And you don't answer no questions, you ask them. And 15 USC 1692 tells you all the ways in which you ask them every question to trap them into telling you the truth or dismissing whatever case they have brought against you because it is a false claim against the United States.
Against the United States. Yeah, I hear you.
Against the United States. It is all false claims against the United States because they're not bringing the claim against you. They're bringing the claim against your birth certificate entity. That's a corporation. You are the United States has opened up an unincorporated corporation. If you take your name that is on your birth certificate and you go and apply for an EIN number, you can now put your social security number to the side and utilize that EIN number because you have turned your corporation from an unincorporated corporation to a now incorporated an incorporated corporation. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because everything's commerce here. Everything is commerce. Down to your
Yep.
interaction with your husband. It is a commercial transaction. That's why the United States is involved in it. And it costs you money to get out of a marriage because it's a contract. Everything is a contract. But Title 15 is the Bible, is what I'm telling you guys. Read
I
it.
like it. Thank you.
Read it.
Title 15.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Title 15. Read it from the beginning all the way through, from 15 USC 1, where they're explaining to you, down to, it goes into 15 USC 241 and 242 is even explaining to you how they're using color of law
Yeah.
to trick you, because it looks like it's the law, it sounds like it's the law, but it's not the law. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Totally.
You're very welcome,
Very.
Can you
Uncle.
break down the difference
Yeah, it's
between legal, word legal and law?
Legal means you agree to it. Lawful has standing as it relates to the law. And Title 15 is the laws of the United States. The United States Corporation, not the lands, not these not the free land, these free states, because United States is only Washington, D.C. That's it. The
Is
United States is
there
not all
is
of this free
there
land.
is there a difference between morality and codes,
Say that
like
again.
behavior code? Is there a difference between uh, morality and behavior codes?
What do you
Like
mean?
you can have
I don't understand.
behavior. So, like, say we can be in the bank robbing game. So our
Hmm.
code is to rob and steal versus actual morality. Is there a difference?
Well, there isn't. Again, per my personal understanding from me reading these laws, that's why I say to you that the United States Title 15 is your Bible. That's why I say that. Because when you read Title 15, you will literally start to seeing how the Bible has been codified.
Can I put my
Um,
blend inside? You're right. I'm glad you said that. Now, can
exactly.
I?
Because
You
it's
don't know.
been
You're right. No,
codified.
you're exactly.
Because
No,
they
you're
say
right.
you can,
You're
in
right.
the Bible it says you only
Right.
answer to God, right? You only answer
Exactly.
to God. You can only your creator can judge you, right? In Title 15, it lets you know, as a consumer and a natural person, a living, breathing being, not a dead
People
entity,
hate.
you cannot
Hey,
commit a crime.
sister, people hate me because I hold the truth. Now I'm gonna bless
Hmm.
you. Let me put my pack inside your Kool-Aid, right? Check me out. Now think about what you just said. The Bible has been codified. I want you to keep that
Hmm.
right there. Watch this. America gets there, or all governments, period. But let's talk about America just so we can have a firm understanding. They derive their power from God, which is why they
Yes.
acknowledge God in the Constitution.
They
God
derive their,
gave them, oh, hold on,
I'm, s-
God
I'm sorry.
gave them divine authority to rule. Now, that's why they're able to create legal code. The law is based, which is a matter of right. Law is based on morality, but legal code is based on interest. And so when you looking up state law, well, you call them
Thank
laws, but
you.
they're not actually laws. They're
You're
actually
breaking.
code.
You're, you're, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
I mean, okay,
You're,
it's called legal code.
mm-hmm.
We don't, in America, the code is based on law.
Mm-hmm.
The law is not necessarily written, it's understood. The
Yes,
legal
law is
code
land, air,
is
and water. That is
exactly,
that is God's creation.
exactly,
Land, air, and water.
right. So what I'm
So
doing
what
for
they
you,
all they
sis,
did was
I'm
codify it.
drawing a line, Sister Queen. I am drawing a line in between legality and law.
And law. Exactly.
Man's
Yes.
rules are legal codes. Laws are created by God. Man does not
Exactly.
create law. There you have it.
Exactly. Exactly.
There you have
Um.
it. Yeah.
Now this is the thing. You hear what you just said.
Right.
Law is created by God, right?
Exactly.
And God and God gave them. They
Authority.
got listen. You said they got their ability to rule
Authority.
from God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. By divine decree. Yeah. It's preordained. Yeah.
Now, it's all.
Preordained.
Listen. They were giving permission to do what they're doing by
Yeah.
we the people, i.e., demigods.
Okay. However you want to say it. It doesn't change
Did you
the
get?
fact of the matter. I understand what you're saying.
So, if God gave us man and woman dominion over the planet, and we handed that over, that is where they got their rulership from. That's why we the people, not the person, because person is a corporation. We the people are rulers of the planet. The natural living, breathing man and woman are rulers of the planet. They can't do
Yes,
anything
indeed.
without our permission.
Yeah, or out the Bible. True that. True that. I really appreciate you coming in here and breaking that down. This is what we kind of been talking about for the past week, So
Mhm.
if people really interested in this, I know everybody on this panel wants to get out of well, at least play the game the right way. Where we the ones on top,
Yes.
we the ones in the winning seat. Like it's a game to be played, so we got to play it the right way. And we don't know the rules to the game. We didn't
You
even know there
can't
was
play
a
the
game being
game.
played.
Exactly. Exactly.
Uh,
You know that everything for family, household, or personal purposes are uh, credited to you. You're not supposed to pay for anything. Anything that is for your family, household, or personal purposes. If you read Truth in Lending, which is 15 USC 6092, you will find Congress finds in the very beginning of each law, Congress does a finding and a declaration at the very beginning. And then they break down the words so that you understand that this means this in Webster's dictionary, but as it relates to law, it means this, right? And
yeah.
in Congress declaration and in Congress fines and declaration and truth and lending, it says that everything. Matter of fact, do you mind if I pull that up for you so you
No,
can
go
read it?
ahead.
You can read it yourself. Please give me 1 second.
We don't mind seeing receipts. Show us,
Takes us.
please.
This really does take a village to figure out. Like, ain't no one person figuring this shit out.
Exactly. That's why we trying to create the village. Cause like
Yeah.
what? You know what I'm saying? We got a girl down here that knows USD code off the top of her head. You know she needs to be a part of the clique. Like what? Dude, as soon as she started saying USD 18, I'm like, what? You know this already? Come on and join the crew. Come on and
Oh,
join
hell
the
yeah.
Cause I'm gonna be like,
Oh,
no, her. I need you to come with me today. How much you need me to give you? Like,
Oh
I'm gonna
my
need you to
God.
come with me where I'm going. Yes, okay. Why everyone has a passion for this? Mine is they took my little boy. Aw. Um, my passion
Yours is they took your
is
little boy, honey. Honey, read the law. Read the law. When I tell you, they can't take your baby from you at all. Read Title 15 and start writing documentations, letting them know that they're falsifying their representation, that they're false and misleading, and that they're deceiving the people, and that they have stolen your offspring. I'm telling you,
yeah.
can't nobody do the work for you. And the reason why I'm telling you that is very imperative for us to open our minds and to do the reading, because no one is there with you when you're experiencing any of your experiences. So you have to be able to read the law and utilize the law. It is strategic. You can do it however you want to. You can put the words in there however you want to. Just know the proper words to utilize so that they cannot play with you. Because, for one, in order for them to proceed with a case against you, they have to prove jurisdiction. They have to have
Yeah.
personal jurisdiction. They have to have territory jurisdiction, and they have
Yeah.
to have subject jurisdiction. For
Yeah.
one, they'll never be able to prove that they have personal jurisdiction. That is the number one thing. And understand this: when you're doing an affidavit of fact or an affidavit of truth, an affidavit stands as truth in commerce. So if you write down 5 facts from the law that says that they are deceptive, they have to rebut all 5 facts. And if they don't rebut all 5 facts, they can't proceed with the case against you. And they have
Yeah.
to give you back your child. Period. In the discussion. It's that
Yeah.
right.
simple.
She's right.
I mean, so anybody in the comments, the way we're just grouping up. I'm telling she part of the group. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like, girl,
ma'am.
you ain't
Yes,
going
ma'am.
nowhere with you on this app. We will stalk you. We will stalk you.
She said, "We will stalk you." I'm crying.
I'm
Right. So this
dead.
is
She was like, you are
this is
valuable
15
here.
USD
We will
1601
smash you
Congressional
up.
Fund and Declaration of Purpose. Informed use of credit, because we're utilizing credit here in the United States. The Congress finds that economic stability will be enhanced and the competition among the various financial institutions. Remember, you are a financial institution. Among the financial institution and other firms engaged in the extension of consumer credit. I told you all what a consumer is. So we know everything is consumer credit. Would be strengthened by the informed use of credit. The informed use of credit results from an awareness of the cost thereof by consumers. It is the purpose of this subchapter to assure a meaningful disclosure of credit terms so that the consumer will be able to compare more readily the various credit terms available to him and avoid the uninformed use of credit, and to protect the consumer against inaccurate and unfair credit billing and credit card practices. The term, it says terms of personal property leasing. See, they okay, I'm gonna just read it and then we can get into that later. The Congress also finds that there has been a recent trend toward leasing automobiles and other durable goods for consumers' use as an alternative to installment credit sales, and that these leases have been offered without adequate cost disclosures. It is the purpose of this subchapter to assure a meaningful disclosure of the terms of leases of personal property for personal, family, and household purposes, so as to enable the leasee to compare more readily the various lease terms available to him, limit balloon payments in consumer leasing, enable comparison of lease terms with credit terms where appropriate, and to assure meaningful and accurate disclosure of these lease terms in advertisement. Now, what that's pretty much saying to you is that everything that has to do with you as a consumer, because notice that Congress said these are consumer credit transactions, not corporate credit transactions. And a consumer is defined as a natural person obligated or alleged. Matter of fact, let's go back. No, this is 93. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm at 92. Congress finds and declared and declaration of purpose. Abusive practices. There is abundant evidence of the use of abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices by many debt collectors. Abusive debt collection practices contribute to the number of personal bankruptcies, to marital instabilities, to the loss of jobs, and the invasion of individual privacy. Inadequacy of laws. Existing laws and procedures for redressing these injuries are inadequate to protect consumers. Available non-abusive collection methods. Methods other than misrepresentation or other abusive debt collection practices are available for the effective collection of debts. Interstate commerce. Abusive debt collection practices are carried on to a substantial extent in interstate commerce and through means and instrumentalities of such commerce. Even where abusive debt collection practices are purely interstate in character, they nevertheless directly affect interstate commerce. The purpose of these laws is it is the purpose of this chapter to eliminate abusive debt collection practices by debt collectors, to ensure that those debt collectors who refrain from using abusive debt collection practices are not competitively disadvantaged, and to promote consistent state action to protect consumers against debt collection abuse. Now, I'm going to just go a little bit further real quick. We could get into that. Now, these are the definitions. Read number 3. The term consumer means any natural person obligated or allegedly obligated to pay a debt. The term communication means the conveying of information regarding a debt directly or indirectly to any person through any medium. It goes further and it's only 8 definitions. This is how simple it is, people. Creditor. The term creditor means any person who offers or extends credit, creating a debt, or to whom a debt is owed. But such term does not include a person to the extent that he receives an assignment or transfer of a debt in default solely for the purpose of facilitating collection of such debts for another. So that means if I go into your corporation and I fill out an application, you have just received an assignment or a transfer, which makes you can't be ever. You know how they always say, who's the original creditor? You're the original creditor. They only become a creditor because you hand it over to them, making them someone who actually is receiving an assignment or a transfer of a debt. And a debt, then it explains a debt collector. And then it also goes further into breaking down who can and who cannot be a debt collector. Then it explains the term location information and state. Now, I'm going to go a little bit further just so you can get a deeper understanding of how deep this is. Just a little bit, and then I'm going to leave it because we can go into that a little bit later on. I'm going to stop right here at false and misleading representation. A debt collector may not use any false, deceptive, or misleading representation or means in connection with the collection of any debt. Without limiting the general application of the foregoing, the following conduct is a violation of this section. The false representation or implication that the debt collector is vouched for, bonded by, or affiliated with the United States or any states, including the use of any badge, uniform, or facsimile thereof. The false representation of the character, amount, or legal status of any debt. Any services rendered or compensation which may be lawfully received by the debt collector for the collection of a debt. The false representation or implication that an individual is an attorney or that any communication is from an attorney. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down here?
Heck yeah.
Oh, you said I'm an attorney and a debt collector, and I could. Oh,
You're the only lawful debt collector, my love, and you're the only lawful attorney. They are false and misleading their representation. They are not attorneys. None of them. They're not affiliated with, associated with, or bonded by the United States or any state. It's all deception. It's all deception. And all you have to do is, when they send you a document in the mail, i.e., a bill, for instance, that is them courting you. They're courting you into a contract. Your job now is to rebut their information and let them know that this is deception and that according to Title 15, you're false and misleading your representation, and that this is who you truly are, a debt collector.
Thief.
Yes, they're pirates.
Yeah.
They're operating under Admiralty Maritime Law, which is laws of the
This
sea,
man has a
and they're
question real
pirates.
quick.
Yes,
Go
yes,
ahead,
sir,
DJ.
DJ.
Ask the question.
Exactly. You can't pay debt with debt.
Bro, you on mute. You trying to talk.
Good afternoon to
Municipal
everyone. I'm
utilities
sorry
as
for
well.
interrupting.
All of it is
Basically,
deception, honey. It is paid for from the inception. The moment that you put your name and your social security number, and see, if I would have went into I could go into 1601 again and read you the definition of a credit card. A credit
Yeah.
card is defined as any card or plate, and the only card that we utilize at all times in every transaction that we make is that social security card. According to the law, that is a credit card. Any of those plastic cards that you have in your pocket, they're considered accepted credit cards. They're not actual credit cards. Because all of those credit cards are still attached to your original credit card, which is the social security card. And all the funds that are being put, all of the credit that is being put on these accepted credit cards are coming from your original credit card. You're just doing it through a third party who has the ability to tap into the Federal Reserve and relinquish this credit to you.
To them. To themselves.
true.
But what they're doing is they're relinquishing it to themselves. But what they're doing
To
is they're
you.
tricking you into believing that it is theirs from the inception, that they're the original creditor, and that you're the
Basically, what they
actual original creditor, but they're tricking you into paying them back what is actually
Right.
yours from the
Right.
inception.
It makes sense. Makes sense.
basically what we are the tentacles of the octopus. They're using us.
Yeah. Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Basically, what she's saying. Basically, what this person is telling us is everything they're saying is true. The documentation that it was shown, all of that is true. We do not know the
How to
judicial
read.
system language
We don't
to
know how to read.
understand. And if we knew the language, if we knew how to
If we knew the language of what they're writing, as we see everything as black and white that we look every day, like the ingredients on what a box of grits are. We don't see that. They have it in a different terminology, so a lot of people don't understand legal language. Everything has its own language. Medical has its own language, as well as money has its own language. So if we don't understand that language, if we don't try to teach ourselves the legal language, then we'll never understand what's going on.
Legal
Period.
language, not finance or
Legal
nothing.
language.
Legal language.
Legal language, exactly. Legal language. What they use in the courtrooms, what they use to pretty much pass off different letters is in legal language.
It's all a claim against you. So you always have a right to rebut any claim. And they have to prove their claim against you. And anything, if they send you a summons to come to court, they're claiming that you did something. So they have to they have to prove their claim. And in any of these alleged court hearings, there has to be an injured party there. If there's no
Physical
injured
injury.
party,
Always, yes.
if
Or
there's no
financial,
injured
but
party, there's no
right.
claim. And you cannot tell me that Target, Walmart, or the car down the street is an injured party. The injured party has to be a living, breathing entity, a living, breathing being. It cannot be a dead
Dead.
entity.
Right.
And a corporation cannot speak. So a corporation
Right.
cannot come in a courtroom and say anything. And please do not send a representative calling themselves your attorney, because
Your
15
attorney.
U.S.C. 1692E clearly states that you're false and
You and
misleading
your
your
own.
representation and that you are not an attorney. So you cannot
There is
speak,
no,
because then we're talking hearsay now.
there's
Yeah.
no
And we
such
don't
thing
use
as an
hearsay
attorney.
in law, remember?
Right.
Bro, they never talk in a different language, man. It's different ways to say certain words.
See, Victoria's Secret, you're onto something, honey. Now, the fact that you even was able to come up with that off the top of your mind says that your mind is open to understanding the information. Because that is exactly was your right. If you're saying to me that the state of Minnesota is bringing a case against me, that means that they have bringing claims against me. And I have the right to face my accuser, which means that the state of Minnesota has to come into that courtroom. And if the state of Minnesota cannot come into that courtroom for me to cross-examine them and for me to question them, then this case is
It's
deceptive.
dismissed.
It's
It's
dismissed.
It's frivolous.
Now, if you understand the law, Title 15 will help you to be able to verbalize what it is that you need to be able to say when you step into their courtrooms. Truthfully and honestly, you don't want to go into their courtrooms when they send you these documentations in the mail. You want to continue to do business with them through the mail. Because now what you're doing is you're trapping them into committing
Admitting that
crimes
they
against the United States.
Mm-hmm.
what crime
So
against
you do everything through the mail. And that is
Yep.
your way of tracking their
Third party
deception.
hand.
registered mail.
Exactly.
Third party hand.
Registered
Yes,
Yep.
mail.
honey. Title
When
15, that's
Make
the
sure
communicating
it's
with them,
always
Bible.
you have to
registered.
register.
Make
You have
sure
to
it's always
register
registered
everything.
and someone got a sign for it. Make sure someone got a sign
Right.
for it. Make sure
Right.
they put their
Exactly.
signature on it. Do not send it directly to them
Exactly.
so anybody can pick it up. Send it directly to someone has to put their John Hancock on that paper. Leave that trail.
Title
Yes.
Title 15 breaks down the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Truth in Lending Act. Now, the Fair Credit Reporting Act people would think that it has to do with these credit reporting entities, but they're not credit reporting, because if you understand what credit is defined under the law as the right granted. Has nothing to do with a number, has nothing to do with the score. Credit is your rights granted.
It's your birthright.
So
It's
when
your
you're
birthright.
going in, It's your birthright. Exactly.
Yep.
Your
Mhm.
birthright is
Exactly.
now being put on paper and they're utilizing that. And it is
They're telling
definitely has
you.
nothing to do with a number. So anybody that takes any of your personal and private information and puts it on any type of documentations and houses it in their portals, their facilities, or any of that, they are a credit reporting agency.
Institution.
They,
Yep.
they, I'm sorry, not a
They
credit.
just
They're
an
a
information
consumer.
database. All
They're
they
a
are is just an
consumer
information database.
reporting
That's it.
agency. And when you read
That's
the Equal Credit, I mean the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it will let you know that none of these entities have a right to house any of your personal and private information without your permission. Not the police department, not your landlord, not none of these private entities, because they're all private entities. They're all consumer reporting agencies and they're all in violation of the Consumer Reporting Act.
And I
You
want to
can
say
tell
one
them
thing
to
though too.
listen. If you have 7 things on a credit report, on a consumer report, I like to put them two together because people think they're credit reports, but they're actually consumer reports. So, like, say for instance, Equifax, TransUnion, and whichever other ones that they have. If they have 3 things on there that are delinquent, if you read the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you can make them update everything on there and turn it from delinquent to paid in full. It's your right.
I just want to get
'Cause
people
you
on this
never get.
panel warned too, right? Be careful how you treat the people on here in which you work for as well, because they have all access to your ID and your
yes,
full social
yes.
information. You feel me? I do
Fact,
not condone of us black people cursing their
fact.
managers. I don't give a fuck how you feel though. It's the way you conduct yourself when somebody is currying the
Exactly.
most
Fact.
personal thing that United States consider. You heard me?
Yeah, let me tell you how deep this runs. This runs so deep that everyone in the United States qualifies for any type of assistance from the alleged government, whether it's food stamps, whether it's housing, whether it's any of it. And why is that? Because as we
It's your
know,
birthright.
the United States is bankrupt, which means that we have no money here, which means that
Nope.
no one has an income in the United States. You are only being compensated for your time and your energy. You do not have an income, which makes you qualify for any service that they have.
That is rendered through the United States. Yep.
Period. And you qualify for the maximum allowed it to an individual.
So let me ask you something, Sheha, because I'm a veteran. So whenever I get my status corrected and all that, can I claim all the veteran benefits? Because I mean, I get veteran
Yes,
benefits. What I'm
yes,
saying is, I get
yes.
like a check now, but could I request a
Hmm.
whole check?
Yes, you can. And they do not have a right to deny you, period.
Especially
They
when you
can't deny
serve.
you anything. And they cannot deny you anything. Read Title 15. It breaks it all down. They can't deny you anything, especially it's for family, household, and personal purposes. You've seen that in Truth and Lending from the very inception. Congress is letting it be known. And now we understand that Congress is the ones that write the rules. Congress is the ones that break this down to all these corporations and how things work. But remember, Congress is playing both sides. But the side that is important to you doesn't matter to them. And the side that's important to them doesn't matter to you. That's why I say you can play in the UCC one filing. You can. But in all actuality, just know that if you don't understand the law, you don't understand the rules to their game, you could trip yourself up with this UCC one filing thing.
Don't
So
sit
let me
at that
ask you
table if you
something,
don't know what you're
Sheha.
talking about.
Let me ask you something. If do you know anything about taking the bills or the securities to a bank, which is a security exchange agent? and having them wire it off to the treasury
Um,
so they securitize?
Actually, I don't, and that would be a part of the UCC1 um um process. I, on the other hand, am well. I'm working with the United States codes, freeing the people of tyranny. Period. Like I don't think that any of us should be playing into their deceptive forms and their deceptive games. But that's just my perspective. That's just my way of seeing it. I personally feel like if our ancestors gave you guys an opportunity to rent the land under the assumption that you would not usurp from the people, the indigenous people, and you guys did that, I don't want to play the game with y'all. I'm not playing into your deceptive games. I'm not filling out no bunch of falsified ass documents. I don't want to do any of that. My job is to understand the banking system, understand bankruptcy, and understand Title 15. Because the banking system explains to you how the banks don't own you, they can't loan you anything. The Bankruptcy Act, which is Title 11, explains to you how they are bankrupt. And then Title 15 explains to you how everything in commerce is operating in this corporate entity.
Which is falsifying information.
Falsify. It's all de facto.
Yeah,
All of
it's
it is
all
de facto.
fraud. Basically,
Exactly. That's what de
look
facto
at this.
means.
Can I put this on the table? It's just like with the project system. If a person is getting paid by the state and they're paying their rent through the state, how is the state going to be able to get itself paid if you're not going
Exactly.
out? You're not going out working for your work. You're getting paid by the government. So how are you paying the government back the money that you're renting in the building that you're sitting in? How?
No
It doesn't make
sense.
sense to
It
me.
makes no sense.
It makes
Especially,
no sense
listen,
to me.
imagine
Well,
a person that is
hold on,
on
guys.
disability.
Hold on, guys. Ask somebody had his hand up, so I want him to get his question in real quick. Go ahead, ask somebody.
I'm sorry, I might be off topic, but I was in the service for 3.5 years, and they said they can't find my DD 214, and I have never been able to get my benefits, and I've been trying to figure out how to, how what I can do, but it's been like 7 years I've been trying to get my benefits and trying to find it, but because I got diabetes while I was in the service, and they sent
Oh
my
wow.
paperwork to DC, but nobody's. It's like they say I was never in the service, sorta, because I mean they said they can't find my DD 214.
But do
Now, from
you
my
have all
understanding,
your information? Do you have your paperwork?
None, none.
hmm
I don't have a copy of my DD
When you
214.
swore in, what did you sign when you swore in?
Man, this was in 1980. This was in 1980, like 1887. And
Every move you
I
did
don't.
was documented. They got something.
Bro, listen to me and listen to
I
me
would
well.
request all
If
document. I
you
would request
served
all
and you know,
documentation
if
in
you
writing.
remember any of your platoon, if you remember any of your platoon buddies,
I
if you
remember
remember
all of it.
any, well
I
then, if you can
remember
find
all
any of
that.
them, if you can find any one of them, and if you can find your drill sergeant, if your drill sergeant is still there, anyone that was in command in front of you, and you know those names, you get them persons and you get them persons on the phone ASAP.
Here it is. Okay.
Bro, take it
I'm
to
gonna
your
get.
man, bro, take it to your man, take it to your governor, take it to the president, send him a letter too. You
Okay.
send the president a letter. What you do is you write one letter and you copy them and you send them. One of them gonna get read.
You want to send it to your governor of your state. That's the president of your state.
Yep.
Send it to him
Facts.
ASAP. Don't send one, send multiple. at the same time. One of them letters gonna skip through there. I'm telling you. And you just have
Persistent.
faith
You
in
got to
God.
keep going. You can't stop.
You keep your
Amen.
faith in God, and you're gonna get everything is the will to you. I promise you that, bro.
You got
It's a
faith in
And
duel.
self.
Everything is a
Self
duel.
has faith
and
Everything is
in
a
you.
duel,
I
right?
got my live birth certificate yesterday. I finally got somebody on the phone, and I got that done, ordered.
Listen, it is a
Now,
duel. We are all in a duel. A duel is, as you understand, it's a fight. It could be a war, right? Whoever retreats first, they lose. You got to keep going.
all this
Okay.
thing was based on a lie with two people. This money thing. Two idiots sat down and made an agreement with each other. So they wanted to decide to sell us to them.
You
When
have to
you're
have
born,
faith
it
in
costs you
yourself.
75. When you're born, it costs you $7,500 just for you to open your eyes on this planet. How? How are you born in debt when you never even had any debt? Come
And
on,
how can
man.
you be born indebted to an entity that's already in debt? It's deception from
That
the
part.
inception.
All
That
of it is
part.
deception. Every last bit of it is deception. And I've been sick of it from day one.
Yeah,
It don't
you
take
and
a
I move.
rocket scientist know when somebody trying to play with you. If
But
if you street
when you want the truth and you seek the truth and you go inside yourself and you make that reservation with yourself that you're going to do nothing but find the truth, eventually, Source will
you're gonna
reveal the
get it.
truth to you. And that's
Every
exactly how
dark
I was
room has a
lucky
light
enough to
in it.
come across this information. Exactly. Where there's a wrong, they have to give you
There's
a
gonna
way
be a
to
right.
right the wrong. They have to give
You're
you a
gonna
way to
find
right
that
the
right.
wrong. It's
Yeah.
called a
So,
remedy.
so I got a question. Sure, all right. Hi, everybody on the panel. I just want to, give my respects. Um,
Peace.
I wanted to counteract, right? I want to know how to actually counteract because the only thing that I could really think of is the counteract. Like how you mentioned that that both sides are being played. So
Yes.
like although like they call us citizens, right? And to counteract that, like you have to ride the fence yourself because like what they say is like, we're citizens or like you said, like we're the natural. I forgot the name. I'm sorry, I
The
just woke up.
natural person, the consumer and natural
Right,
person.
right. The
Hmm.
consumer natural person. Right. So I'm trying to figure out what the best way to counteract that is to actually build your own corporation too at the same time. Because at least that, like
Well,
I
you can
guess it's
operate
like
that way. You can operate
What you're
that way
saying is
by
100%
creating
true, but it's
by
not easy to build
incorporating.
in your own corporation.
You can do that by making your unincorporated corporation a corporation. If you look at any of your look, you opened up a personal banking account, right? When you look at the documentation on your personal banking account, it will say that you're a sole proprietorship. It is an unincorporated sole proprietorship. What you could do is
Yeah.
you can get an EIN number and start to operating in that manner, but you don't have to. You can
And your
stand
EIN
on
number is
business. You can stand on
that.
business and let it be known that I am the natural living, breathing being. I am a natural person, obligated or allegedly obligated. You can also let it be known that all debts are obligations of the United States. And as I just read to you guys, 1601, it says anything that is for family, household, or personal purposes are not supposed to be paid. It is free to
By the
you.
people. Right.
Yeah,
Yes. So read
exactly.
Truth in Lending. It's the truth in lending in commerce. That's what truth in lending is.
okay. So
It is
that's
the